Hi there, I am the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Hammerstein in the northwest of England. And I offer this devotion as a balm for the heart, for the mind, for the spirit, and for the soul. And it's titled, I Simply Remember My Favourite Things, and then I respond in love. A member of the congregation, John Poskett, recently led a conversation on the subject of what are your favourite things? It was a lovely conversation. And he began by asking what two things have brought joy to our hearts in the last few days. Two of our favourite things, I guess. It was really interesting to listen to what other people shared, actually. And I thought back over the days that had gone by, and I thought of two things. One professional and the other personal. The professional had been the two funerals that I'd led on either side of the weekend before I went on leave in the last week. They were what you might call good funerals. I know that's a strange thing to say about a funeral, but that was the response from most people, despite the very real grief experienced. Many have commented on both funerals in using that kind of language since. There was so much love expressed as people reflected on the lives of two dearly loved people, one from connected with both congregations, David Copley and Pat Pitcher. Two people who had lived good lives and shared so much with so many, bringing so much to so many lives. And I felt this powerfully as so did so many others during both services. Following particularly David's service, it was lovely to catch up with many people who have meant so much to my life during my time as a Unitarian, before even becoming a minister actually, people who shaped me and helped to shape me. There was a deep sense of love and of warmth as I reflected on some wonderful human beings, both the living and the dead. The last few months, in fact the last year probably of my life, has been a struggle with regard to grief and loss. I have lost several friends, some in deeply tragic circumstances, and I have had to hold so much in my heart and in my soul. I've held some difficult confidences, but I've held them and I've done so with loving integrity. It's important for my own soul to reflect back on this, something I've been doing these last few days actually. There's also been several losses in both of the congregations that I serve, and they've no doubt taken their toll too on so many people. As well as other people's personal losses too, we all live with grief. It's the price we pay for love. And times are difficult as we look at our world. The world we are living through, we're going through some challenging times that can weigh heavy on us. But then, this is the nature of life. And this is why it is so vital for our souls to seek out that which brings us joy, that which makes our hearts sing. Sing about our favourite things. And this brings to my mind actually the second thing that I shared in the group conversation. Another favourite thing that brought me joy. And actually, it's that I've recently joined a choir. I've been to 3 rehearsals now, and my goodness, it has been wonderful to begin singing with others once again. It's going to take me time to feel myself fully and to find my feet and my voice comfortably, but I will in time. But it does feel like something that's going to bring me joy to my heart and my soul as I ease into this. I ain't rushing. I wonder, what are your favourite things? What brings you joy? What makes your heart sing? What aids your soul in times of challenge and or concern? To quote good old Julie Andrews in that classic Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, The Sound of Music, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favourite things, and then I don't feel so bad. In fact, shall I sing it to you? Obviously, I'm no Julie Andrews, and it's without accompaniment, and it's from a much lower voice. But here we go. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favourite things. Cream-coloured ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzels with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favourite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favourite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favourite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favourite things. Cream-coloured ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzels with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favourite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favourite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favourite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Hope that was okay. Certainly made me feel great to sing of my favourite things, and wild geese flying is definitely one of them. Definitely one of them. That fly with the moon on their wings. I was watching some the other day. So when you remember your favourite things, when you feel lifted up and don't feel so bad, I'd like you to do something. To think that what you can do with what has been so freely given you. To offer a simple gift to the world. Yes, enjoy your pleasure. Enjoy the pure pleasure of our favourite things. And then having done so, share your pleasure with whatever gift you have. Give it to the world and do so abundantly. Well, maybe you can't give it to the whole world, but those close at hand. Give from your heart. You may have, if you've watched one of my videos before, you may recall I often talk about a daily reflection that I write on social media upon awakening each and every single day. It started during December of 2022, and I've posted something every single day since. I've not missed one day. It's become a really vital spiritual practice, actually. If on the occasion that in my life I have a rare lie-in and don't post, say, before 9 a.m, it's only happened maybe half a dozen times, people notice. It can be a little annoying, but they ask me if I'm okay. People worry. People care, don't they? But I usually am. I'm just resting. Even I need to rest from time to time. Now, the practice began after I was left a gift on my doorstep. I was going through a difficult time of struggle, but I was doing so faithfully, but I was still struggling. And a person noticed, and they wanted to offer a gift of love and care, and it touched my heart. And you know what? People have been leaving things ever since, and it still touches my heart. It is such a beautiful way to offer love and to offer care. It happened again this week, actually. I had mentioned, I don't know why I had mentioned this, but you get into conversations and I talk about all kinds of things, and not always, well, often not serious things, actually. But I mentioned that I've been unable to buy sardines from the supermarket on occasions when I've gone there, the shelves have been empty. Well, it seems an angel was listening and responded to what they heard, and I awoke the other morning to find another favourite thing. A very fancy tin of specially selected Cornish sardines in Mediterranean sauce. I generally go for tomato sauce. But what a lovely gift. It touched me so deeply. People can be so beautiful, can be so lovely. Dear, dear friends that pay attention and respond in love to someone else's need, not just their own. I've also been touched recently by an ongoing conversation I've been having with Kieran, who's the manager at Cafe Nero in Altrincham, which I spend a lot of my time in. He's been through his own trials and tribulations over the time I've known him, but he seems much more settled in his own heart and soul these days. And he's taken up a new hobby, and he keeps me updated with his hobby. He has begun to rear Siamese fighting fish. Look them up, they're quite a thing. And raising these fish and breeding these fish has taken over his life, I think. But it's wonderful to hear his full engagement with his new passion. It's become such a joy, such a blessing, a favourite thing for him. And it's transformed his struggles into something meaningful and wonderful too. And he wants to share it. He's going to become a breeder, it seems. Wow. I love the way that people find and create beautiful and wonderful things from their struggles. It inspires me greatly. So many people and so many things have inspired me when I found myself struggling with one thing or another. Hearing these stories is a favourite thing, actually. It's what I'm here for, I think. And when I remember these stories and think of these stories, I simply remember, and then I don't feel so sad. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favourite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Over the last few days, I've been thinking of the people who have inspired me, who have guided me and have given to me from their hearts. When I think of these people, they remind me of, they become what Wordsworth called spots of time. They themselves, not just the experience, but the people themselves become kind of spots of time to me that lift me up when I've fallen again. In Prelude, Wordsworth described these kind of moments as spots of time. He wrote, "There are in our existence spots of time that with distinct preeminence retain a renovating virtue whence depressed by false opinion and contentious thought, or aught or heavier or more deadly weight. In trivial occupations and the round of ordinary intercourse our minds are nourished and invisibly repaired, a virtue by which pleasure is enhanced, but penetrates, ennobles us to mount, when high, more high, and lifts us up when fallen." We've all had these moments, and we've all had these experiences, and we've all known these people too. We've all known spots of time. They are epiphanies. They are moments when life not only feeds but truly nourishes us on a deep, deep level, deeper than the marrow of our bones. Moments when the common becomes uncommon. Moments when the veils we create ourselves seem to slip away. Moments when we seemingly see beyond the ordinary. Moments when we experience reality on a deeper, deeper level. And I love hearing about these things. I love remembering my own favourite things, but I love to hear these stories from others, like Kieran's fish, I think. And these moments, these spots of time moments, these experiences, these encounters with others can happen anywhere. For Wordsworth, these spots of time occurred primarily in nature as he walked those hills. And we all experience them in different ways, in different states, in different settings. Those moments when time seemingly stands still. Those moments that touch us at the core of our being. Those moments that transform our lives. Those magic moments. I'm not going to sing that one, sorry. When time seemingly becomes compressed or concentrated. In these moments when the senses become heightened. When life seemingly has a deeper meaning. Moments when life becomes denser, deeper, thicker. And they don't have to be supernatural moments. No, they may be firmly grounded in reality. They usually are. In these moments, time appears to be slowing down, although obviously, chronologically, it does not. Time doesn't stop, it becomes compressed. The moment becomes concentrated. There seems to be a thickness, there seems to be more to life in these moments. But it lasts just as long as any other moment in terms of chronology. They're deep moments, they're not longer, they're not stretched out. In fact, if anything, they're thickened. But time is time after all. I suppose these spots of time are what we might call kairos time, God's time, not chronos time, which is always the same chronological time. No, it's kairos. Something happens in the ordinary moment of life. When I look back at my life, I can think of those moments when deep, powerful meaning has emerged seemingly out of nothingness. And life has just felt more connected than ever. I felt it again these last few days. These experiences, these magic moments, these favourite things that they are to me, are not just for me, and they're not just for you. They are there to change us so that we can then act in this world in new and wonderful ways. At least that's what they've shown to me. And they always come after faithfully walking through difficult times, after working through with faith what has been difficult in our lives. And every time I've come through them, had this new experience, if you like, and shared it, they've shown me how better to serve and love this world and its people. I am sure if every single one of us were to look back, we will find that we have experienced such moments in our lives too. Moments that we carry with us throughout our lives. Encounters with certain people that stay with us forever. Moments when time has seemingly stood still. Moments that have changed us, or if I prefer to put it actually, woken us up to something, to a greater reality. We need to be awake. Sometimes people awaken us. Some call them epiphanies. And that sounds like something supernatural, but it's something that happens in the most natural aspects of our lives, in this life. So what do we do with these moments? How can we bring such moments alive in others? Can we inspire one another? I think we can. And I think it's our task, it's our spiritual, maybe that's what our religious task truly is. Of course, it's where the meaning comes. It certainly has in me. But we have to seek our own, and we have to develop our own. It's for each of us to discover what our meaning means to us, what it is for each of us. We each have our experiences, and we each have our own favourite things, and we each have our own special gifts to share with the world. It doesn't have to be anything big or glorious or glamorous. You don't have to literally try and change the world. There's enough people out there doing that, by the way. The key, though, I believe, I've come to believe, is to respond to what is closest at hand, to start where you are, the ground at your feet, the solid earth. This is holy ground. And to give what you have from your own experience. This is the embodiment of what James was, in the book of James, what he talked about, faith without works is dead. This is living faithfully, and it's doing the work, bringing that to life, for faith alone is insufficient. As Viktor Frankl stated, it was a responsibility for each individual to find their own meaning in life, that this was in many ways the ultimate freedom that we're given as human beings. It can't be prescribed for us. You can't take on anybody else's mission. It's for you to discover your own. But it's not just freedom. It's about responsibility. It's what we do with what we're given. This is the secret. This is spiritual life. This is the core of my religion, I guess. For to be truly free is to be responsible for what is yours, and to show that to others, to share that with others, to give from that your heart, and all will know. But we each have to discover what that is ourselves. Like we each have our own favourite things. What we do, how we're transformed by our favourite things, by that love, and what we give back through that love is for each of us to discover ourselves. We cannot live another's life. We can be inspired by another, but we must not follow. We can walk side by side, but it's not about leading and following. No one does that. And it begins by accepting and actually loving who we are. And then by loving who we are better able to do what we can with what we have. And I think this is beautifully exemplified in a following wisdom story from the Jewish tradition about Rabbi Gamaliel. Gamaliel was asked by one of his students if he thought he'd done enough with his life. He pondered the question for a moment before he answered. He paused. And this is what he said. When I die, God will not ask me, Gamaliel, why were you not an Abraham or a Moses? God will ask me, were you Gamaliel? Did you do what you could with what you were given, I guess? Were you able to embrace all that you were given, to share the gift, your favourite things, to come alive through them and then to give from them? To be who we are in this world means that we must embrace our God-given natures, our God-given talents, to use them wisely. It means that we accept who we are and make the most of what we've been given. It means we don't try to be something or someone that we are not. We take responsibility for what we've been gifted, and our job is to nurture and develop these gifts, but not only for ourselves, for the good of all, for others too, so that they can be inspired by what we have to give, and we can be inspired by others by having our hearts open. Remember what brings you joy. What are your favourite things? Those moments, those people that have inspired you and lifted you up when fallen. Remember those moments, those experiences, those people. Remember them. Re-feel those memories. Absorb them into your being. And then, having absorbed them, respond in little and beautiful ways, or in huge ways if you wish, if you can. Respond to the world, not by trying to take it over though, but just by giving what you have. To me, this is free religion, if you like. This is the spiritual life in its essence. It's its purpose, and it's what will give our lives true meaning. And if we begin to do so, we may then just begin to create that kingdom of love right here, right now. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favourite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Amen. I'm going to end with some final words of blessing. We need to bless more. We can all bless. And we bless by giving our whole hearts to life. So let's begin in this moment, right here, right now, and give our whole hearts to life. May the days that we share together and flower and flow with all that is and was and ever shall be. May we be blessed by all our days together. Let us bless life through our thoughts, our words and our deeds. Let's live by faith and our works. And life will bless us in return. And may the love that is God, may that go with us in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Amen.